I'm going to do something fun right now. We're going to have some audience participation as well. So get ready for the Slido. But I'm going to introduce every single person because it's pretty cool to come into some music. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. She is the VP of Performance Marketing at Scopely, where she oversees the performance marketing teams on the strategy side of Scopely's portfolio, which includes games like Star Trek Fleet Command and Marvel Strike Force. Give a round of applause for Margarita Vasilevsky. Sorry, Margarita. Give a round of applause. Come on, guys. Yeah, I failed him. All right, next up. He manages all the performance teams of Play Studios, an award-winning developer of free-to-play casual games and social games, including the official Tetris game and hit casino titles like Pop Slots, My Vegas Slots, and the official MGM Slots. Give a round of applause for Omer Gerzon. Oh, man. And last but not certainly least, she oversees all the UA activities of Pixelberry Studios' hit games choices. She is the UA manager at Pixelberry Studios. One more round of applause for Rebecca Calkins. After you. All right. I've been told not to hit this button too many times, so I'm just gonna do it once. But if you guys wanna ask some questions, go ahead and put your questions up there. We'll be answering them. I got them right on my phone, so ask away. All right, let's kick it off. Rebecca, since you're right next to me, we're talking a lot about privacy and stuff. How has that impacted the way that you guys do UA and market?
Yeah, so it's definitely impacted a lot. I think everyone can agree to that. Just in general, trying to hit the SKAN conversion thresholds in every single one of our campaigns has been difficult. We're not able to do retargeting. But yeah.
I think there's a lot of impact on retargeting as well, mainly on iOS. And I think the first time it was a bit of a shock about how you handle SKAN, about how you work with this thing. Yeah. And eventually, we all learned to work with that, right?
No, absolutely. The traffic mix has changed quite a lot. Not all of the ad networks and partners were able to successfully transition into the SKAN ecosystem and framework. Some of them are doing better, some of them are doing a little bit worse, right? So we as a team have to adjust and move funds where we're getting the best return on investment on our end. Also, I can highlight that the creative part on iOS has become more challenging, right? Because we're getting less visibility into the creatives that are working, as well as the audience on iOS has become way wider because we lost the hyper-targeting capabilities. So yeah, that's my...
Has the marketing mix changed at all? Like, were you focused on certain platforms and now you moved away from them?
I think for us, our marketing mix honestly hasn't changed drastically. We have definitely been trying out some new channels that have been quicker to pivot with the whole SKAN situation. But also we are moving our budget away from, we're more consistently switching our budget from platform or from channel to channel a lot quicker than we were before, I would say. And also we're just constantly trying to test out new channels that are working with this type of thing.
I think it impacts a lot about the way that we allocate budget in iOS. But mainly it impacts the way that we measure things. And I think the main struggle or the main challenge that we have, and I think the key to success with SKAN is work on your schemas.
Yeah.
And this has been a great work that we did over the past few months, year, to optimize our schemas to be able to measure our performance better.
What do you mean by schemas?
The way SKAN works is that you don't have the actual user-level data.
Right.
So you need to build a schema of reporting data points that is aggregated. And then there is certain ways to build that. It's quite, I would say, encrypted, or there are several ways to do that. Some are doing some binary coding around how reporting to SKAN, and there is some ways to do that you can also track buckets of revenues or track different events and track different levels of users, but you need to do it some way. You are a bit blind around what you're doing, and it's only about the first 24 to 48 hours of the activity.
Right, right. I also wanted to kick off another question here, since we're on the SKAN schema conversation. What do you guys feel about the 4.0 opportunities and features? Because in my opinion, again, we are not practicing that widely. It hasn't been adopted that much. As you guys know, the adoption rate is getting better, but it's not quite there for the publishers and advertisers to fully switch. But I think Apple is moving in the right direction by trying to provide more visibility and transparency for performance marketers to optimize, right? Even the change from those 72 hours countdown to, what is the new one?
I think there's one in the first 72 hours and then another one after a week.
Right. So it's up to a week now.
Yeah, so SKAN until now is basically working just on the first 24 hours, 48 hours. It's very challenging for us in gaming to measure that way, because we are optimizing for long-term returns. And when we have the option, we'll have the option on SKAN 4.0 to measure beyond that. So it should be more easy. I wouldn't say easy, but it should be more easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not gonna be.
So
as before.
Amr is not as excited. Okay, got it. So 5 hours
It's
of 10.
not going to solve
Okay.
it's not going to go back to as before.
Right,
definitely.
Yeah. I think I'm more on your side. I think it's going to help, definitely, and I think we're definitely moving to the right direction. But I'm wondering about the adoption rate and when it's going to pick up and we can really start seeing the changes from it.
I think the way we talked about channel mix, the way it impacts is that when we lose control over measurement, and we are going to have a similar situation, I think, in Android soon with Sandbox. So the way it impacts is that we start to do less user acquisition and more marketing, just marketing and being able to measure our activities holistically.
Yeah, which is so scary to me.
Which is sometimes scary, but sometimes it's going back to the essence of actually doing marketing and doing good products, doing great ads, real ads, not fake ads, real ads, and being just good and not based just on machine learning models that just find you the right users. You need to be very precise about what you're doing.
I got a question from the audience. On iOS, are you looking at SKAN, MMP, probabilistic, SKAN reporting, if a mix, tips on making sense of these sources of truth?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that we always look, for our company, we always look at SKAN as our true source of data. P-matching has been great, but at the same time, we've had huge discrepancies between SKAN and P-matching, even when we're hitting the install threshold. So that's been very difficult. But yeah, definitely SKAN, but looking at a mix of both.
The mix of both, I would say.
Yeah.
Same, always both. I think there are challenges with both of the attribution models, but the more data performance marketer has, the better decision we can make, right? I love networks that can provide the dual attribution, dual view. Just equips us a little bit more with the decision making.
Got more questions for you guys. You guys ready for that? Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Keep them coming. Look, I'm looking. Are you investing in top-down measurement, incrementality, lift measurement, media mix modeling, or how do you marry it with your bottoms-up attribution?
So media mix modeling is not something that we do at the moment. We do look at some activities we want to measure incrementality. It's mainly around branding activities or offline activities. I think Margarita maybe more advanced in influence and marketing that it's more difficult to measure and needs to be managed with uplifts, right?
Yeah, well, I can speak a little bit about that. We are experimenting quite a lot, right? We're preparing for, and we're already in the new reality with the privacy-first world. We do experiment with MMM quite a lot. We actually have an internal model that already helps drive certain decisions and conclusions. There are some downsides of MMM. I know, guys, there are so many different logics and the types of MMM out there, so I'm not going to speak to all of them, obviously, but the challenges that MMM has, in my experience, is that it's not very actionable for a UA team, because it's a little bit behind, like in some cases, it's several months behind, for example, right? Because the model needs to have fully baked data to really spit out the results. It is still great because on the big picture, it can provide very precise like knowledge and highlights in terms of the effectiveness of particular channels or particular activities, especially those that are outside of the traditional user acquisition channels. So I've seen success with that, but I think for the right mix of tools that a company needs to use, there has to be a combination or synergy of models like MMM and whatever else the performance marketers can still do with MMPs, with incrementality platforms. There are so many of them. We do experiment quite a lot with that at the moment. Unfortunately, don't have the the recipe for success, the right answer. Like, hey, this is how you need to do it. But I would highly recommend looking and trying and testing because that's going to secure a safer transition into the future.
I think that we're also internally working on some incrementality and like seasonality reports. I do think that we have some ways to go, but we will get there. I'm happy to know that it has benefited you a lot. Do you think that when you said some different types of channels that are not our normal channels, have you tried CTV yet?
Yes.
We did. And it's not easy to measure. It's not easy to measure. And I think for all the activities that are not direct response measurement, it's harder to measure. And I think the main learning that we learned around that is that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
So you need to keep consistent, although you don't see the direct reaction sometimes of users and you don't see the direct attributed clicked installs. You need to keep the momentum going and keep the campaigns on CTV, on influencers marketing. And it's harder, I think, for smaller companies to maintain this amount of spend over time, but it's how to build it over time, I would say.
Yeah.
Rebecca, you're a mind reader. This was one of the questions, CTV.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I knew it.
All right, let's talk about organic growth. We got a question that came in. One of the first questions, so shout out to you. Thank you so much. Okay, let me rephrase. What do you think about leveraging social features to drive organic growth?
Ooh.
You want to start off with like the Tetris brand? Because we got a question about the Tetris brand too.
Tetris brand is me.
Oh my God.
You go first then.
So what's the question about the Tetris brand?
Well, let's go after this question. How do you leverage social features to drive organic growth, first and foremost?
Social features. I think you mean social features in the apps.
Sure.
In Play Studios, we have many games that are more social in their environment. So you can actually, if you play pop slots, for example, so you can invite people to play slots next to you. So there is this feature to invite people to play with you together. It's not actually available yet in Tetris, but there is some PvP plans for Tetris as well. What else?
Choices. See, I remember now. What about choices?
Yeah, so for I kind of took that question in a different way, so
Yeah,
I
go
might
for it.
answer it in a
Yes.
different way. I thought it was referring to social features within social platforms, as in like with influencer content. I don't know if I'm. Is that what it was meant for?
Yeah.
But we've been definitely utilizing the collaboration feature on Instagram recently, and then also we've been doing a ton of Spark ads on TikTok, which is not necessarily organic, but it is still a very interesting way to find content and be able to get the rights to videos with influencers and also like promote videos without having to spend the initial money to make the content yourself. So like if you're a brand name that already has people talking about you, you might be able to search yourself up on TikTok and find some UGC content that's already made that's promoting your app. So you could message them and say, hey, do you want to run a Spark ad? All of the followers, likes, comments will go to your page. Most of the time, they're like, yes. Then you get an ad for free. They get some engagement, and then everybody's happy. So,
It's free.
Yeah, so
That's pretty good.
we've been really enjoying that feature on TikTok recently, and then also collaborations on Instagram. But we are a little behind when it comes to the social connectivity of choices, but we're going to get there.
100%. Well, the answer is yes. The games that I work closely with, Star Trek, Marvel, there are less social elements from what Rebecca and Amar are talking about, but we have a lot of games in our portfolio. We have Monopoly Go that just launched recently. The game is highly viral, and the gameplay is basically tied to, you know, interacting with basically PvP, right, with the real players. So we have a game like Stumble Guys that is like the peak of virality, and it's like a very, very known title. So yeah, I mean, the answer is yes, but it really depends on the genre, because certain genres are, I'm not saying that we shouldn't try to make it viral with in-game features, but I think just by default, certain genres are a little bit less prone to that.
Are you guys using any referral programs? And then if you are, how do you measure if it's a successful one?
Refer programs. So as I shared, there is some features around inviting friends, and then it's trackable with the links that we have implemented in the game. So this is how we did it.
Is it just sharing with friends? Like they hit that little share button, text it out?
Yeah, it's something that you, for example, can invite a friend over WhatsApp directly from the game to come and play with you in the same room. So, so this is part
Are you doing any deep linking on that?
For some games, yes.
Okay. And I've actually seen that, you know, WhatsApp, SMS messaging, probably the best referral. Like I think a lot of people talk about social, having them share it on social, but the best engagement really comes from SMS. Is that still true?
We're not trying SMS actually, but there's just the feature to send the link wherever you want with when you click share on iPhone, and then you can share it wherever. You can share it on Facebook, on your feed if you want. Just come and play with me on Pop Slots.
You guys want to move to Apple Search Ads? Yeah,
Let's
why not?
go.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. For iOS Apple Search Ads, Apple Native Channel does not use SKAN, which allows you to track data more accurately. Any thoughts on how you can use this channel better?
So I think it's obviously that Apple Search has grown over the past year. Go for FL. This move on measurement. So I think Apple Search is also challenging because it's, I think, a more expensive channel, but it's a more premium channel. The way to grow it, I think, outside the brands, it might be easier for games that have famous brands like Marvel or Star Trek or Tetris to just target this keyword. And I think that the way to expand it is more challenging. Custom product pages is something that's fairly new, and many advertisers utilized it to improve performance over certain keywords.
Yeah, we've actually seen competitor brands do pretty well and using custom. There's a slide. Where's Emery from Mobile Action? There he is. Like if you like search for Opera, right? Opera, Chrome, Firefox, and then you have, who's the brand? Opera? Opera is the brand that's running. Yeah, Opera is the one that's running custom project pages on some of their competitors. We've seen pretty good success on that. Anybody else want to? Margarita, you want to add anything?
I can add a little bit. Yeah, of course, we utilize Apple Search Ads. In terms of scalability, that's a little tricky, right? And I think it's not a secret that Apple Search performs extremely well, especially if you have an IP game or a game with a known IP already. And when you're bidding on your own brand terms, this is the creme de la creme, right? I mean, it can be questionable, a little bit contradicting, because would you get those installs if you weren't bidding? Maybe yes, maybe no, but also you are protecting your brand, right, from the other advertisers trying to outbid you. Now, when it comes to going after the competitive keywords or anything like that, that's where, you see a little bit more challenge with the consistent performance. But I have a great case study from a friend of mine. He's outside of gaming. He had an app. I'm not going to promote it
oh, man.
for various reasons. But the interesting thing, that app was in the aviation, so basically like an assistant for frequent travelers. And the guy was the founder, and he cracked the code basically when he was doing Apple Search Ads. He found, like in certain geos, he basically found the airline companies, like very popular, maybe smaller ones, but when they're being frequently mispronounced, so he was going out after those like mispronounced terms, and he was actually driving like ridiculously low CPI out of Apple Search Ads. So that was like one of the unique, really great success cases that I really saw in action that was like astonishing to me. So I think there are a lot of opportunities. But in terms of like the actual, what the advertisers have to work with right now, I think there are some challenges here and there.
This is actually a question. Questions are coming in. Thank you so much. This is crazy. Okay, on SKAN specifically for Facebook ads, is optimizing for conversion events reliable? Since there's too little data to work with, is it better to optimize for installs?
I think it depends on what your target is. I think Facebook have gone. We know all that Facebook have gone very expensive over the past year, or 2 years, 3 years, and the deal with SKAN is that you need to cross the thresholds. Now, if you optimize to conversions or to purchases, so it makes your CPI super high, and then you need to invest a lot of money. If it's reliable or not, you need to measure it with SKAN and not rely on the data that you see on the platform, on any channel, not on Facebook, not on Google. No, you need to trust your one source of truth, if it's the MMP or SKAN. And I don't think that anyone here works with, I don't know, the Facebook installs or the Firebase installs inside the platform to rely on that as the installs. But yeah.
We're good on time. What about Google? You kind of mentioned a little bit. Anybody doing anything on Google? UA?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, of course. Just do it all, huh?
Of course, a lot.
Have you guys seen that be more effective than Facebook? Any tips?
In terms of optimizing towards installs rather than down funnel events? Sorry, I missed
They just said, what are your thoughts? It's pretty curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, no, Google is fantastic, really great. I think they have really nailed down the the down funnel, like lower funnel event optimization. They're a great source of Android traffic. On iOS, obviously not a secret. It's a little bit more.
Now, I understand.
It is getting right. So they're rolling out new features such as TROS bidding for SKAN. It's in beta right now. So they're going into the right direction. Obviously, we did see a really great uplift in performance after switching to Firebase. I don't know, guys, if you had the same experience with that. Again, this is not like news. That's something that happened like several years ago. But optimizing off of MMP, even though the data is the same, you would say, but somehow Firebase is just performing slightly better. And not 100% of case, but statistically wise, that's what I've seen in my experience.
That was new to me. That was cool.
Yeah.
One of the tips I got from somebody on the podcast is if you want to target, because Google's very hard to target, right? Like if you want to target, have the right keywords in your ad copy. Google's smart enough to find the right people to match your ad copy to. Any tips on the creative side? Are you guys using a lot of videos? I've seen like videos be okay. You're using banner ads, text ads from the Google perspective.
The thing with Google is it's fully automated and you can control anything about how the distribution of creatives will actually work. And since we are managing a lot of UA in Google and in a lot of different titles, we see there is a very varied distribution of spend between games. So some games are more heavily on search, some games are more heavily on videos and display.
Yeah.
And it's not something that we control.
Have you tested out the vertical videos? You guys done that?
It doesn't matter what you put in. It's like it's different between games. It reacts different between games.
I know it's very ambiguous to an extent, but still there are trends, right? And we know, for example, what works best for YouTube. If you want to get more YouTube inventory, you can fit in longer duration videos. They're going to have a higher chance pick up spend and pick up traction off of YouTube. Copy is extremely important because a lot of like the highest quality and usually the lowest CPI is actually coming from search, part of Google inventory that is less controllable, right? But you still want to make sure that it's tuned properly. And then static ads are a little bit less impactful, right? But they still play a huge role in the search algorithm and also the wide ad network of GDN traffic that Google has. So yeah, I would say like in terms of the ranking, video, copy, and then banners.
Really? Okay, we've got like 3 minutes left. Rebecca, and this is for everybody obviously, but you're the closest. What is the top marketing strategy or tactic you found the most effective this year?
Top marketing strategy or tactic?
Yeah.
Can we narrow that down a little bit? Just in general, top marketing?
Yeah, in general. I think that's what you meant, right? Emery, I think that's what you meant.
Yeah.
I'm just picking on you.
I'm going to take that into the creative aspect. I'm going to funnel it down that way. I think that I know that UGC has been very popular recently, and influencers have obviously been popular, but I think the normal and old way of creating a video, which is hook, gameplay, and call to action, is still the winner of all ads. And I think that creating different iterations where you're seeing different ways to do call to actions, different ways that you can judge the players within their fake gameplay during the middle segment of the creative has been really helpful. We have been experimenting. I think it's also difficult because I think where we're trying to pivot to grow our brand has less ability for tracking, as we've mentioned before, when it comes to influencers. So one of the things that we're trying to do is have a better influencer program, but at the same time, I'm not sure if I can exactly say that that has been the most effective so far. But it has been, yeah, it's definitely been what we have been focused on.
So I think UGC is something that's been here for years. I think that we do see a difference between, I want to say, fake UGCs, that there are some platforms that you can, get in touch with influencers or actors that simulate something that looks similar to UGC in compared to actual being in touch with your players to engage them, to create videos about your games and then make ads out of that.
Yeah.
So we also found success with that. Another great strategy that I
just one. What about you, Margarita?
I can say a few. I can speak of a few. Influencer marketing is a big focus. Community marketing is a big focus.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Product marketing is a big focus, right?
Want to talk about community a bit too? You want to expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think community is just so ingrained in the product, and when our community is happy, our product is happy. There was actually a fun case study about a company that I thought was really interesting, and it's not an app, so I'm sorry about that. But they're called From Our Place, and they're like a cooking utensil company. They grew their online community from 0 followers to 600,000 followers in a couple years with, I think, if this is correct, no online advertisements. And what they did, their content strategy was not to shove the fact that they were trying to sell pans in your face, but they instead made organic videos of cooking recipes and then collaborated with different chefs to make cooking recipes. So they were like making content for their audience that these people would enjoy, and then in the very middle of it was the product that they were selling. And now they have like a brand partnership with Selena Gomez. And even though this is like not an app, I still think that that's like a learning that you can take into your own community channels of how to create authentic and engaging content.
You want to add anything else? Final words on the community aspect?
I mean, probably not. we're at time.
We're out of time.
Okay.
Look, these superstars are here. They're available for selfies. They're available for questions. So if you need, I didn't get to all the questions, but thank you guys for submitting all those questions. If you got anything, just follow up with them, track them down, or find me and I'll track them down for you. One more time, give it a round of applause for this panel. A little bit more, please. Come on. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.